To make the perfect KFC style chicken, many use cornflakes or breadcrumbs, but in today's video we are going to get the perfect crust for a KFC style chicken using only flour. If you are new, thanks for joining, and to my old golden members, I love you so much. For my chicken, I'll be using this part of the chicken. This isn't the thigh. If you know the name, comment down below. I'll be washing the chicken with lemon juice to remove any off scent and sliminess on the chicken. I'm using 4 pieces. And for my ingredients, I have 1 tablespoon of milk powder, 1 teaspoon of chili sauce, and 1 teaspoon of garlic paste. I also will use 1 teaspoon of soya sauce. And for the powdered ingredient, 1 tablespoon of powdered pepper, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of chicken spice, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of rosemary crushed with aniseed, and in the middle we have a 1/4 teaspoon of curry powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. So basically this is the ingredients I'm going to use to marinate my chicken. So first of all, I'll combine all the wet ingredients, which is the green chili sauce, the garlic paste, the soya sauce, and I'll also be using vinegar. That's a little drops of vinegar. And guys, the secret ingredient for my recipe is the green chili sauce. The green chili sauce makes it extremely flavorful. So if you have some in the fridge, do not hesitate to add. After adding all the wet ingredients, I proceed to just drop in the dry ingredients. Look at how colorful it is, and then I gave it a thorough mix. I decided to go for a thicker paste in the beginning, but I realized it wouldn't be enough for the chicken, so I went ahead to dilute 1 tablespoon of milk powder and added it to my paste. So then after washing the chicken, I dropped the chicken inside this beautiful marinade. Allow the spices get on the chicken by mixing it thoroughly. After the spices have incorporated well on the chicken, I cover it and set it aside for 24 hours. So I place it in the fridge the night before preparation. It is the following day and I'm coming to work on my flour ingredient. I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And for my spices, that's the dry ingredient, I have 1 tablespoon of powdered chili, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of black pepper and aniseed, a 1/4 teaspoon of curry powder, 1 teaspoon of chicken spice, and 2 tablespoons of milk powder, and then 1 tablespoon of powdered chili. This is just what I'm going to add. And guys, I also added salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. So I add all my ingredients to the flour, add my salt, and then begin to stir to allow all this goodness incorporate well. And the reason why we need to stir it very well is they can set at one side. I tasted and I realized it was enough. So I brought out my chicken and you can see it's the following day and it has simmered well. The juices have entered in, and to that I break 1 egg, mix it thoroughly into the chicken so that the butter can be thick, and this allows you to get more flour on your chicken. It allows the binding process work very well. So first of all, before we fry this, I place my chicken in the flour and just coat it with a little bit of flour and then put it aside. I do this to all the chicken before moving to the next step. With this step, I don't put a lot of flour, just a little bit. Shake all the excess off and then move on to the next step. So after everything, I bring out my chilled water, place my chicken in the chilled water for 2 seconds. Immediately it hits the water, it has to bubble. So After I remove it from the water, I place it directly into the flour. And for this process, pay attention. When you put the chicken in the flour for the second time, make sure there is a barrier of flour between your palm and the chicken so that you can coat the chicken with more flour. Do not let the bare chicken come in contact with your palm. So you coat the chicken with flour, and whilst you are incorporating the flour in there, massage the flour inside the chicken as if you are trying to knead the flour. Remove it out. When you see that the crust has formed perfectly, you shake off the excess and then set it aside. And stay tuned for the next step. After setting it aside, there is another way to fry this to get a more crispier crust. So this is the last batch, and I'm shaking off all the excess. So after doing this to all the 4 chicken, I lit my fire and then put my oil on fire. The chicken is raw and flour easily gets cooked. So if the fire is high, I'll probably burn my chicken. So it was set on the medium setting. So after it is hot, I place my chicken in the oil and then take my stainless steel tongue and then raise the chicken above the oil so that the oil can boil the flour underneath to get the hard crispier crust before leaving the chicken in the saucepan. The reason why I'm doing this is when you immediately place the chicken in the hot oil, it will stick to the bottom of the pan. Flour will form together and it will become like a molded form. I don't know, this is a picture of what I am trying to talk about. So basically this is the secret to getting a crispier crust. It isn't time consuming. The process looks long, the process looks like it will be tedious. Not at all, unless you are doing it for a large batch. So I continue to toss my chicken in the oil so that the heat can get to all the parts. So I do this for all the chicken. When the oil reduces the rate at which it boils, that means that the chicken is now ready for us to remove it. And I place it on a stainless steel rag so that the oils can drip out, and this helps the chicken stay very crispier. And for the second method, that is basically what I'm doing. In case you didn't get the first method, you put it in the oil, take it with your tongs, let it fry underneath, and then turn it to the other side, let it fry, and leave it in your oil for it to cook beautifully. I hope I have explained myself enough. I hope you've gotten the secret to getting a crispier exterior. And guys, please let the chicken cook thoroughly, because if the chicken is not well cooked, you can get salmonella. If you do not want a darkened chicken like mine, you can use extremely clean oil. The oil I used was leftover oil, and also my gas, even though it is on the medium setting, it is also high. I do not know how to put it to a very low setting. That's the fault of the gas. That's why I mostly do my cooking videos outside, and the lighting system in my kitchen is very terrible. That is why I cook outside. So today, bear with me for bringing you along in my kitchen. Just manage with me. I couldn't do this outside because of all the goodness, and houseflies love goodness, and I didn't want to deal with that. So guys, as you can see directly on your screen, the chicken is very crunchy and crispier. The darkened part is just the blood that has darkened, and because I use the tongs to lift it up in the oil, the coating there removed a little bit. That is why you can see the bone part, but that doesn't change anything. Look at how juicy, look at how crusty. And this is how to get a perfect crust without using cornflakes and breadcrumbs. I pair this with some ketchup. I ate it with rice. I took it with Coke. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. I love you so much. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for coming along with me. As always, remember not to depend on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord and He will show you the right path. Stay safe, and until next time, stay blessed.